Hello. How are you guys going? Good? We're almost there for day one. I'm sure there's going to be loads and loads of insights that you've already received, and there is still a couple more sessions before the end of the day. This particular session that we're going to be talking about is empowering local economies, and I've got three incredible panelists here, all with three different perspectives that we're going to receive. So we're going to be talking about and diving deep into a really important topic, and that is the biggest drivers when it comes to long-term impact for, of course, a country, how infrastructure and policy can really empower local economies. We're going to talk about ICV programs and, of course, SME champion initiatives. And Abu Dhabi is certainly doing more than just building projects, but it's certainly building ecosystems, which is the common theme of what we're hearing from all the panels this morning. We're joined by three incredible leaders. Let me introduce them properly. Here we have, of course, on my left, His Excellency Adel Al Nuaimi, the Executive Director of ADPIC. He's leading capital projects and strategy, coordinating across Abu Dhabi's government entities. Next, we have Moustafa Fahour. He's the CEO of Plenary Middle East, and he's bringing global PPP expertise to the region infrastructure and development. Thank you, Moustafa, for joining us. And last but not least, we have Ahmed Al Zaabi, Executive Director of Delivery at Modon Real Estate, overseeing the delivery of Abu Dhabi's largest scale urban projects. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. Now, let's get right into it. My first question, of course, to yourself, Your Excellency, and looking at on a larger scale, but ADPIC plays quite a central role when coordinating capital projects. And I want to know, of course, you're doing a lot of work with, of course, SMEs, but how are you working across the various different departments to help grow the local economy, especially when it comes to giving the SMEs opportunities? I know that there is SMEs among us today. How are you providing them those opportunities? Are we on?
Again?
Yep.
So thank you, Shereen, for the kind introduction. It's a pleasure to be here today among my colleague and the audience. ADPIC and the Khalifa Funds are working together to strengthen Abu Dhabi SMEs ecosystem by launching programs that increase the contribution of SMEs and the non-oil GDP, enhance the employment, and expand the access to finance. Key initiatives including Abu Dhabi SMEs Champion Program, which increase the contribution of SMEs and the procurement opportunities across private and public sectors, and a sustainable development economic platform tailored to growth SMEs. ADPIC support these efforts by deploying a dedicated team, nominating the eligible SMEs, and finding and identifying the procurement opportunities. And there is also a future plan to host events to introduce these companies or the enterprise to the potential partners, and also allocated a committed procurement value for these SMEs to support them to grow.
So you're doing quite a lot.
Inshallah.
Very good. Over to you, Moustafa. I know from your perspective, you've worked, of course, a lot with the public and private partnerships. How have the PPPs helped support the ICV's goals? And where do you think more should be done to, of course, bring SMEs to larger scale projects?
Yeah, that's a very good question. But firstly, thank you for having me. And it's a pleasure to sit among such esteemed colleagues here. And, the question's quite timely because, this morning we heard from the opening from His Excellency the Chairman about the number of infrastructure projects and, the capital projects and the PPPs. But what was critical was about connection, community, love. We heard all these things. And what I love about PPPs, especially in the social infrastructure space, is that we get to do programs or capital works or partnerships around things that don't just provide meaningful returns immediately. It's things that provide returns to the community, hospitals, schools, and you hear about these important infrastructures in development. But one thing that Abu Dhabi does quite unique compared to the rest of the world is it adds its own flavor and touch, and one of them is ICV. So we were lucky enough on the Khalifa University student accommodation PPP. ICV was mandatory in the bid.
Fantastic.
And the beauty of the ICV program, what it means is that we must achieve certain aspects that stimulate, that regulate, and support the local economy.
Yep. I think one thing that was mentioned today from His Excellency, it's not the amount of square meters that we're building, but the lives that we're touching upon along the way as well, which I really absolutely loved. Thank you, Moustafa. And over to you, Ahmed. I know that you're, of course, working on mega projects. So tell us, before Modon actually starts to plan a lot of these mega projects, how do we make sure that that in-country value is being built in from the very beginning, very much similar to what Moustafa just mentioned?
First, thank you again, Shereen, and pleasure to be here in front of the audience and with my colleagues as well. Talking about the ICV and Modon being a developer of mega projects, the way that we develop the projects from the planning stages is to ensure that, yes, it's a world-class projects that require world-class expertise. However, the focus of the local SMEs are never forgotten. ICVs are something that we focus on. Innovation, the innovation engine is from the SMEs and the ICVs that we do have in the country. So we make sure that whenever we are developing one of these mega projects, ICV is one of the main pillars that we focus on, and we work on together with the help and support of the government, of course. And as the Excellencies mentioned in the morning, it's all about collaboration, relationships between government, developers, even SMEs and academia. So it's a collaboration. It's an effort that everyone is having to achieve the government vision and goal.
Yeah, the mandate, absolutely. Good response. Over to you, Your Excellency. Now, how is that whole in-country value ICV's program helping ultimately the SMEs end user grow and win more contracts? Can you kind of break that down for us? And how is it also raising the standards when it comes to like new market entrants coming in?
The ICV program is a key enabler for the SMEs and the newcomers to the market, aiming to localize the operation and integrate them to Abu Dhabi supply chain. Many people mistakenly think that the ICV is a barrier for this. However, a mature supply chain can serve this as a foundation, a strong foundation, enabling the newcomers to integrate quickly and operate efficiently. For example, in the construction sectors, for the large scale project, success is depending on the partnership with the firms, not only who provide you with a specialized expertise, but only have the critical knowledge of the local knowledge and experience. This ultimately will drive faster the project delivery. To enhance such majority of the supply chains, ADPIC focus to prioritize the local sourcing by introduce and protection of 10 key construction materials here locally in Abu Dhabi in collaboration with the Abu Dhabi Investment Office. This will strengthen the economic resilience and reduce the dependencies. ADPIC actively support this by aligning the capital project procurement strategies with the ICV preferences. Thereby opening the competitive opportunities for the SMEs that adapt early and contribute to build a strong, robust local supply ecosystem. Finally, the large company or the new companies always seek the local partnership. This will open also a way for the SMEs to joint venture and subcontracting with this company.
And supporting them, absolutely. Over to you, Moustafa. I know that you're working, you've worked on various different, of course, safeguarding measures. So what kind of safeguards or systems do you think is needed to make sure that the SMEs that are coming on board, right, really do have that technical and that operational demands, especially on mega projects, while they're still staying, of course, aligned with the ICV targets? So how do we keep that balance? We want to support the SMEs coming in, but how do we safeguard and make sure that they have the right technical know-how?
That's a very good question, because sometimes if a project's quite complicated in nature, some of these subcontractors or contractors don't have the experience nor the ICV, so it will in effect impact you and your score that you are as a company. So what we do as plenary, so if we do find a complicated projects, and a lot of these could be in tunnelling or, that require specific, TBM machines, what we do is then we're forced to educate and support the local companies to be able to understand or partner internationals here while they still get the benefit and use their local ICV score. So it makes the whole cycle work together to ensure that we're still delivering and supporting ICV and still maintaining the score. The program's quite robust, which is amazing.
Yeah, so collaborating them with for example, other firms. Yeah,
correct. So you'll have to actually work with them to partner them, work with them to bring internationals or that expertise if it's missing. But can I say, in my 13 years of being here, I haven't seen a particular skill that hasn't been found here in the UAE.
In the region. Yeah, fantastic. Over to yourself, Ahmed. Now, we're obviously in a major tech revolution, as everybody knows, especially with the spike of AI and the like. How can we utilize and how can digital platforms and smart tools help the SMEs and, of course, tap into the ICV linked opportunities more easily? How can we find them more? How can we connect with them with the various different projects utilizing some of these smart tools?
Yeah, so talking about the AI, we are in the age of AI now. Technology have always been a powerful tool, especially nowadays. It's one of the most powerful tools ever been in
it's an exciting time to be alive, really.
But at the same time, it's a really great enabler for SMEs, for expanding and enabling ICV as well. Digital platforms, real-time analysis and performance logs that can be found on spot and real-time is something that really SMEs can use and be a potential for their growth and to ensure that they are aligned with the ICV's programs and goals, which will potentially and hopefully will lead them to sustainable growth with the help of the framework that the government have set for them.
Yeah, fantastic. As I said, it's an exciting time to be around. Over to you, Your Excellency. Now, for the newcomers that are certainly in the market, how are the contracts, the unified contracts, supporting their entry into these infrastructure projects, and how are they helping them to compete alongside some of the most established players that are in the market?
Align with the directive of His Highness to enhance the execution and the governance of Abu Dhabi government projects. ADPIC lead strategic initiatives which enhancing and improving the construction contracts, focusing on 3 pillars: transparency, risk allocation, and how to make this contract attractive for the international companies and firms, and to, as my colleague said, to enhance the partnership, because we always deal with the firms, and the one we are dealing as a strategic partnership, not as the second part of the contract. Abu Dhabi general conditions of contract provide a unified and transparent legal firms which that allow the playing field between and fairness between for the large firms and the SMEs by minimizing the legal ambiguity and also standardized risk allocation. This will reduce the barriers for these companies and the newcomers to join our markets, as it is as per the global practice. Finally, as His Excellency said in the Maysara, that the contract is not only a framework. It is a step forward to a future honors our value and spread the word.
Fantastic. To support, absolutely. Over to you, Moustafa. I know that you work a lot with the international landscape, right? What international lessons can we in the UAE apply here to help the SMEs become more innovative? What have you learned that the international market's doing that we need to bring to the UAE market, especially when it comes to building sustainable infrastructure?
Yeah, so Planner is a global company. We started in Australia to North America to Asia, Europe and the Middle East. And there's always this misconception about what can we learn here? What can we take from the global markets?
Is it the opposite?
In actual fact, in my 25 years, I actually found the global markets can learn a lot from here.
Yeah.
And this is the interesting component. Yes, there are certain skills and capabilities that they've done for a long time, but when it comes to technology, when it comes to innovation, when it comes to advancement, it's actually more robust in this part of the world than it is outside. So I actually say to a lot of the internationals that we bring that have these capabilities or balance sheets or the ability to bring FDI where you need them here, in actual fact, they will rather work with a local company to get their competitive advantage on their technology, their rates, etc. So our partnership then works both ways, both the global and the local. But I actually, in many of the talks I do, and I just came back from Uzbekistan, what I'm trying to, and over there we spoke about what learnings can Uzbekistan make from Abu Dhabi's PPP program. So there's such a IP and talent here that can be leveraged to the rest of the world rather than the other way around.
What did you tell them?
And I told them, for example, the schools. So you look at the schools PPP program. Yeah, it was the first social infrastructure educational PPP program done in Abu Dhabi, delivered on time, on budget, within 2 years, and it's already operating. That in itself for a new PPP program in social infrastructure is a huge milestone.
That's great precedent.
So it's the procurement process, it's the ICV, it's the centralized procurement and bodies through ADPIC. It's all these regulatory bodies that support you to be able to deliver. It's actually not just the project.
Yep, fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. Over to yourself, Ahmed. Final question, the finale. And beyond just projects, I would love for you to kind of recap how can developers like yourself or government bodies and academia all come together to really push the in-country value mandate further and to support the long-term, economic growth?
I would simply say whatever we are doing at the moment is a true proof of whatever should be done. Us sitting here hand in hand, talking about how can we really improve the ICV, how can we really enable the SMEs to grow and to have their potentials in Abu Dhabi is a testament that Abu Dhabi is really focusing on improvement and focusing on the ICV program within the country. I would also touch on collaboration and agility. The collaboration that we are having and will inshallah continue to have within the different sectors in Abu Dhabi is something that has to continue. So to make sure the ICV is growing and enabled, and to be agile for any future opportunities that can come and benefit all of us.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I think it's really evident that the ICV isn't just a metric, but it certainly is a mandate and it's a mindset, of course, for the UAE and for Abu Dhabi. Can I get a big round of applause, please, for our panelists? Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you, Moustafa. Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you for your time and your insights.